Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to answer the question whether the 27mm f2.8 is a worthy lens in 2020 after 7 years from its release. Intro, and then we'll be back here to talk about it. Here we are, and the answer is yes. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, it was a joke, I got something to say. I hope it won't be a kilometers long video like I usually do. The reason for a lens like this to exist, it's basically its size and its weight. It's a little bit bigger than a lens cap, but no more than that. I mean, it's the smallest and lightest lens in the Fujifilm lineup with only 78 grams, I think, and only 2 centimeters or so thickness. So it's basically a non-existent lens. Compared to the other small lenses in the Fujifilm lineup, such as the 23mm f2 or the 35mm f2, it's half the size pretty much. And the only comparable lens in size is the 18mm f2, which is a little bit bigger, but it has the aperture ring that the 27mm 2.8 doesn't have, and is also a stop brighter. Why I have this lens? I bought it in 2015 with an incredible price. I think I bought it for 150 euros. So it was too cheap to pass on that. And I was curious about this lens because it was perfect for street photography. I thought it was perfect because of its size. It's basically, again, as I said, non-existent. So it would match perfectly my X-T20 or my X Pro 1 that I had at the time. Just for when I wanted to go with only one lens, super small, super compact, and super stealthy. I used it for a while, but then it fell in my wife's camera bag because she fell in love with the lens and she glued it on her camera, the X-T10, and I lost track of it until recently when I bought the 18 f2 that I gave to her and I gained back the 27mm f2.8. After a while, I decided to give it a shot during a 2-day trip in Milan, right before the coronavirus outbreak in Europe. And during those 2 days, I fell in love again with this lens. And honestly, if I wanted to find a rational reason for that, I would not find it, because it's not the sharpest of the lenses. Its aperture is not that bright. The autofocus is not that great. It is part of the first group of lenses which had that noisy and slow autofocus, and it's basically unusable for video, and it doesn't have the aperture ring. But despite all of that, the reason why I like this lens is because it's got character. It's small. You almost go unnoticed. I said almost. Someone will notice you. And it's super easy to carry around without even thinking about it. And so it's easy to just go around and enjoy what you're doing. Plus, I love the focal length because the 40mm is equivalent to 42 in this case, but we're there. Gives me that perfect field of view that I like when I go out shooting. I mean, differences between the 23, 27, and 35 are negligible one to the other, but I like a lot the 27mm, so the 42mm equivalents. As I said, the lens feels tiny, and especially on a camera like the X-T30, it feels tiny and it's very compact and lightweight. It fits perfect. It fits perfectly for the X-E line or the X Pro line, and it feels non-existent on the X-T3. As I said, it doesn't have the aperture ring. You can see here there's no aperture ring. And while I would consider this a problem for the majority of the cases, for a lens like this that I tend to use wide open and in aperture priority is 99.9% of the time, it feels easier to use it one-handed because I will only change the aperture when I need it from here, from the front wheel, and then go easily just taking the camera, put it in your eye, and shoot. So super easy, super comfortable to use, and honestly, nothing to say about that. That's a perfect lens for this. When it comes to analyzing image quality, the lens is very good, already wide open with some weakness in the corners and some vignetting in the corners, but nothing to worry about. And it gets better as you stop down, and it gets almost perfect, very good at f5.6, where both the weakness at the corners and the vignetting is gone. As I said, it's not the sharpest of the lenses, but it's something that doesn't matter too much when you go out shooting. So you're not shooting for the majority, for the details and the fine details. So that lens is perfect. And I like the bokeh, although this is a pancake lens, so it's got a simplified optical design. I like the bokeh that I get from out of it. Of course, being 27 millimeters and being only f2.8, you don't get that much of a bokeh. But the one that you get is, I really like it. Honestly, I like it. And forget about using for close focus subjects. It's I think it focuses at 35 millimeters. For a lens like this, it's basically impossible to get any close-up, any decent close-up. What can I say in conclusion for this lens? Looking back at the shots that I got while I was in Milan, I remembered why I fell in love with this lens in the first place. And as I said before, it's portability and its character that make me like this lens and make me want to use it. Even though it's not the brightest that I have, it's not the most accurate that I have, even though a lot of things. And although it's not modern in any way, for example, you cannot use it for video. Forget about video with this lens. The lens delivers when it comes to street photography, which is basically what this lens was born for. So I would feel comfortable recommending it, with the only caveat that you should know that the autofocus is not the fastest that you've ever used. It's not. But other than that, it's a lens that I would recommend without any issue, and honestly, I like it. I think you got it from from what I said before. I'll leave you to a couple of shots, and then what else? Thank you. Subscribe, like, and share if you want to see more video like this, and if you want to help my channel to grow. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.